Imagine you're watching a typical episode of This Is Your Life, but instead of a teary reunion and hugs all around, the guest of honour blankly stares at a decorated British Army officer and says,
"Never seen the fellow in my life."
That's exactly how the 1961 British comedy Very Important Person kicks off.
I remember the incident as over yesterday. It was May 1942. No, it wasn't. It was August. Oh, it may have been November.
And trust me, it only gets better from there.
Would you mind telling the Professor that I have a most important document for him? From the War Cabinet.
Now, this isn't just another World War II prisoner of war movie. Very Important Person, also known in the US as a coming out party, takes the classic escape the camp premise and flips it on its head with humour, clever plotting, and a brilliant cast, led by the unmistakable James Robertson Justice.
Cooper is not my chum. He's an incompetent, irresponsible nincompoop. I do not wish to be in the same room with him.
Let's dive into what makes this lesser-known gem so worth your time.
If it would make you happy, I can tell you the names of every known British butterfly.
So we start with Sir Ernest Pease, a famously cantankerous scientist, now an old man being honoured on television.
You mean the time when I had to give Ernest the slipper?
But when one of his supposed wartime companions shows up,
Dreadful fellow. Can't stand the sight of him. But surely, in fact, I've never met a single soul who even liked him.
Pease is completely blank. That's our cue for a flashback to 1942.
Going on a reconnaissance over Germany isn't a picnic, you know.
I'm perfectly well aware of that, Marshal.
Because, of course, wartime memories are rarely simple. Back then, Pease wasn't a knighted scientific hero.
I'm perfectly aware of the terms of the Geneva Convention, thank you, Captain.
He was a secret weapon, literally. He was developing cutting-edge aircraft tech for the war effort and needed first-hand experience on a bomber run.
The odds against my being shot down are 837 to 1. I worked it out mathematically on the way here.
Problem was, he couldn't let anyone know who he really was. So, under the alias Lieutenant Farrow and posing as a Navy PR officer, Pease boards a flight over Germany.
I bet you didn't expect a show like this, Farrow! On the contrary, it's exactly what I expected.
Let's just say it doesn't go to plan. Cue one very sudden hole in the side of the bomber, and our not-so-action hero is promptly sucked out into the sky.
Zur Hilfe! Zur Hilfe! Zur Hilfe!
Parachute? Thankfully, yes. Smooth landing? Not exactly.
Sag nicht so doof! Oh!
Pease is captured by the Germans and winds up in a POW camp filled mostly with Royal Air Force officers.
The squadron number?
I don't remember. It was of no importance to me.
Now, here's where things really start cooking. Pease's flawless, German and suspicious background raise red flags with the other prisoners,
But if you're trying to discover whether I'm British, why don't you try some more pertinent questions?
some of whom think he might be a spy. Once his true identity is revealed to the camp's senior officer,
Sit down, all of you. Cool off. I've just decoded a message from London about you, Farrow. From the Prime Minister.
Group Captain Travers, played by Norman Bird, the tone shifts.
But is it necessary for these idiots to know who I am?
I say, steady on.
They now know this guy isn't just another officer.
Must be got back to England. You'll give him any assistance he may require. That's an order. Understood?
Yes, sir.
He's vital to the war effort. His escape becomes top priority.
I'd like you to know, sir, I'm sorry for making such a dreadful mistake.
Hope you'll harbour no ill feeling over what's happened, sir.
And speaking of escape, the film serves up a plan that's half Great Escape, half mission ridiculous, but in the best way possible.
Obviously, the most difficult part of an escape is not getting out of camp, but getting out of Germany.
Pease, thinking 10 steps ahead, as usual, rejects the standard tunnel escape route in favour of a fake escape.
After the first 3 or 4 weeks, the Germans will inevitably assume that Farrow has been successful.
His logic? If the Germans believe he's already gotten away, they'll stop looking for him. That's when he'll really make his move.
While I think of another way to escape.
But he won't be going alone. He enlists the help of his roommates. Jimmy Cooper, the smooth-talking optimist played by Leslie Phillips,
Now look here, Farrow. If dear old Winston wants you home, I'm only too delighted to give you some of my filthy food.
and Bonzo Baines, portrayed by Jeremy Lloyd in an early but memorable role.
You can't starve to death. I vote we each give him a share of ours.
Then there's Jock Everett, a strong and sturdy Scotsman played by Stanley Baxter,
You can have my wee bunk if you like. Be near the stove, it's warm of it.
who also doubles as Major Stampfel, the rather unpleasant German officer in charge of the camp.
Oh, you are trying to make a fool of me.
That you do not require any assistance from me.
Yes, Baxter plays both roles, and the resemblance, or lack thereof, becomes a running gag in the film.
Move on, English swine. Scottish swine.
The final escape plan, brilliant in its absurdity. Everett impersonates Major Stampfel to escort Pease and the others out of the camp.
But just my luck if it rains.
disguised as Swiss Red Cross observers. The tension ramps up when Grassy Green, played by John Forrest, reveals himself to be a German intelligence officer in disguise.
Thinking of leaving us, gentlemen?
I was always a little puzzled by the precision of your speech, Green.
But when he mistakes Everett for the real Stampfel,
Lieutenant Hans Kringling of Luftwaffe Intelligence. Arrest these men, Major. They are imposters.
things unravel quickly and hilariously. It all culminates in the kind of payoff that only British wartime comedies can deliver.
This is as far as I go. No doubt I'll be accused of striking a German officer this morning.
Understated,
Well, don't spoil it all by getting caught now.
clever, and oddly heartwarming.
They've been recaptured, have they? They wouldn't have the brains to make it.
But they did make it. They're in Stockholm. They arrived safely last night.
Back in the present day, the television programme wraps with Pease reuniting with his old companions. Cooper, now a missionary in India.
Ah, bless you.
Baines, a designer of ladies' undergarments.
Fabulous.
My dear boy.
Everett, an undertaker in West London.
Everett, bide your time, Everett, bide your time.
Still digging?
And, yes, even Major Stampfel,
A very popular one at a British holiday camp.
now running entertainment at a British holiday camp. It's the perfect comedic coda to a wartime tale full of twists. Now let's talk about the cast, because this film is a who's who of classic British talent.
You see, it is always the same. They get out, they come back.
You may dismiss your men.
James Robertson Justice absolutely anchors the film as Sir Ernest Pease.
There is enough air in that tunnel to last any normal man between 12 and 16 hours.
He brings his trademark booming voice and formidable presence, but adds a touch of vulnerability as the brilliant scientist stuck in a very human predicament.
If you are all prepared to sit here and spend the rest of the war in safety, I am not.
Justice was already a household name by 1961, known for his roles in Doctor in the House and numerous other British comedies.
You're walking much too fast. There's no occasion for haste.
His performance here is both commanding and subtly hilarious.
The more we dawdle, the less attention we draw to ourselves.
Leslie Phillips, forever associated with his suave ding-dong persona,
Isn't it a bit obvious? I mean, weren't the dreaded enemy spotted in no time?
offers charm and levity as Jimmy Cooper,
Some of us have to make far greater sacrifices.
while Stanley Baxter's double performance is a masterclass in physical comedy and impersonation.
I wouldn't like to be the chap that has to do that, impersonating a German officer.
Baxter was well known at the time for his impressionist skills, and this film gives him ample room to show them off.
But I can't keep Stampfel occupied that long.
Eric Sykes, another legend of British comedy, plays the sports officer Willoughby,
Don't you know these are the finals?
and John Le Mesurier, familiar to many from Dad's Army, plays the stern but fair wing commander Piggott.
I wish you good luck now. I don't have to remind you that the main object of this operation is to get Farrow to his rendezvous.
Every supporting role is cast with care, and even the smallest parts add flavour to the ensemble,
Congratulations. You've got the part.
with interiors that recreated the POW camp in rich detail, though it's set mostly behind barbed wire.
What's your name? Shall we play the game, shall we? You mind your own business.
The film never feels visually dull, thanks to smart direction and staging by Ken Anakin.
Well, you're nice and cosy here.
Now, how did it perform?
Is anything wrong, sir?
You know bloody well what's wrong.
Very Important Person was a moderate box office success in the UK.
Is he important?
Well, he thinks he is.
It didn't smash records, but it found an appreciative audience.
Fact is, Farrow, the escape committee doesn't think very much of your plan.
It also holds a bit of historical significance for borrowing elements from real World War II escape attempts, most notably one involving British officers escaping dressed as Swiss Red Cross observers, a detail that lends just enough authenticity to ground the silliness. In today's terms, Very Important Person might feel like a cosy Sunday afternoon movie,
The whole scheme's madness. It's doomed.
but scratch the surface and you'll find a script packed with clever dialogue,
I'm sure you're wrong, Jock. Farrow must be quite a decent chap, otherwise he wouldn't have kicked Stampfel on the shin.
layered performances, and a surprisingly sharp take on British wartime bureaucracy and identity.
Thank you very much indeed, Everett.
If you're a fan of classic British cinema, or just love a good prison break with a twist, this is one to check off your list. And hey, it might even leave you wondering just how many brilliant minds were hiding behind boring uniforms in the chaos of war.
Treat what you've just heard as absolutely top secret.
So the next time someone asks, what's an underrated British comedy I've never seen? You'll know exactly what to say.
Come with us, will you, Farrow?
If you enjoyed this dive into classic cinema, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more film deep dives, forgotten gems, and movie mischief. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Something seems to have gone wrong with the warning system.